Hey everyone, my name is Karat Feng, and today we're gonna make a top 10 of my favorite mod for mob battle. Of course, this list is totally opinion based, it's my preference, so we're gonna look at mobs and bosses, but not at biome, feature, items, or other mechanic that apply to this mod. So we're only gonna look at every mobs. And this list will only have mods that are present between 1.16, 1.18, or 1.19. And so, to start off at number 10, we have the Goety mod. This mod adds two boss to the game, the Vizier and the Apostle. They are the main focus of this mod for the mob battle. Either some new Illagers, some new witch, some new monsters, some that come with some effect that I don't know how to disable. The Vizier is an interesting flying boss that acts like a flying evoker. There's also the Apostle. The Apostle is one of the strongest. It's not an Illager, it's more like a witch, as the mod creator said. He's really strong, and even stronger if you summon him in the Nether. So you have two different fights that you can do with him, and depending on the name, his arrows won't do the same effect. They are stuck at number 10 because they only add two boss. Most of the small mobs are not that interesting for mob battle. The mod is stuck in 1.16 for now, and these days I mostly play 1.19, so... Coming in at number 9, we have Astemir's Forestcraft. This huge mod adds multiple bosses and multiple small enemies that can go with the boss or without the boss, and the boss goes from mutant strong to really strong. The Queen Bee and the Iguana King are really strong, but not that strong. They're not in OP territories, so they are really fun to use against other medium to strong bosses like the Mutants or Mowzie's mobs. Again, they are stuck in 1.16, so we can't try them against the later bosses, but the Nether Scourge is like a reverse Apostle from Goety. When it's in the Nether, it is not angry, it is not enraged, but when you summon it in the overworld, it is now way stronger and enraged. Now the strongest is the Cosmic Fiend. This thing is a beast, it's a unit. The only problem with it is that it screams all the time, so it could be annoying. I recommend that you lower your volume a bit because your ear's gonna bleed. Don't use the Watcher with the team, it will crash your game. They don't work with team. For the rest, everything is good. There are some aquatic mobs if you like aquatic fight, so it's overall very rounded, but still stuck in 1.16. And the boss can feel a bit unfair, and they don't have many moves. They have one or two moves, so they are like pretty straightforward. Coming at number 8, we have the Blue Skies. The Blue Skies add 2 dimensions, with 2 boss from each dimension. The first boss of each dimension is an Illager type boss. They are called Summoner or the Alchemist. Each of them have 3 or 4 attack, and once they reach the midpoint of their HP, they start to gain new attacks, or their attack gets stronger. So they are a bit interesting. They have a damage cap, so they will never get one-shot by OP bosses, so they could make some interesting fight in this point. But they can also be annoying, because they have some weird mechanic that is based around some fight will not be as good as they should be. That the 2 final boss are the Arachnarch and the Starlit Crusher. The Arachnarch is really fun for mob battle. It's a normal boss, it grabs smaller mobs, it jumps around, and if you have a ceiling that has at least glass and water, that's how I found that you can make it go jump to the top. It will cling to the ceiling and it will spit poison for a while before coming down and start his whole routine again. On the other hand, the Starlit Crusher is a bit more tricky for mob battle. You need to get rid of the wall or have a mob that can do AoE and give the mob an axe from the Blue Sky dimension, because the mobs are locked behind an item progression. If you don't have the items from the dimension, you will do less damage against them. You need to give them the tools. Or another way to completely remove the wall from spawning, you can either use a repeating command block with /kill, or you can teleport them in the void. I prefer to teleport them in the void because the sound of them exploding is really annoying. There's a bunch of mobs, really small one, that is ranging between the strength of a Vindicator to a zombie to a bit more strong like a polar bear or an enderman. They all have some special ability, they can fly, so they can make some great team fight. And because of how the boss have some special AI, they are only at number 8. Coming in at number 7, we have the Dungeons mobs. This mod has no boss yet. They are planning to add more bosses. This mod adds mobs and mini-boss from Minecraft Dungeon. They just released the 1.19 version, but they also have 1.16 and 1.18. And they have a bunch of Illagers, like the Isolager, the Windcaller, the Mage. They also have the Redstone Golem, they have the Necromancer, the Drowned Necromancer, the Leap Leaf. They have a lot of the mobs that come from Minecraft Dungeon, and they are really well animated and have every move from the game. You can also go into your configs and change what the Necromancer can summon, so you can even add new stuff to the game. All in all, it's really well made, but it's only at number 7 because there is no bosses to like have really big fight. Coming at number 6, we have my favorite Dimension mod. The only problem is we're not looking for Dimension, we're looking for the boss, and this is why they are only at number 6. It's the Twilight Forest. The Twilight Forest has 8 bosses that behave more or less good for mob battle, but are still fun to see how they interact with the other bosses from other mods. Some of them are really specific, like the Twilight Lich that needs to lend their own projectile to destroy their shield, or the enemy has to have magic attack to destroy the shield. And sadly, there's the Hydra that can not get damaged by almost anything except like explosion or some arrows. You also have the Naga, the Phantom Knight, the Alpha Yeti, the Snow Queen, the Urghast that doesn't do much in mob battle sadly, but there's also a lot of normal enemies that can complement the team or have some smaller fight. They are really fun, they add some abilities, but all in all, this is the mod that for now adds the most mobs to the list, so that's why it's number 6. And speaking of a lot of mobs, coming at number 5 we have Alex mobs. Depending on the version you're playing, 1.16, 18 or 19, there is more and more mobs, so I suggest that you play on 1.19 because there's really good mob at the end, like the Rhino, like the Bison, like the Farseer, the Murmur. They added a lot of new stuff, but there's also the Void Worm. This one is in 1.16, 1.17, 18 and 19, and the Void Worm is basically just a giant worm that can split if you hit it at the wrong spot. So it's a really strong boss that can be beaten by some mobs. It's really fun to go around. You have to set team though, because when the Void Worm split, they will lose aggro. So you have to set the team with a command block so that they don't lose aggro to the target. And now at number 4, I might surprise some of you that were expecting it to be higher, but I'm gonna put Mowzie's mobs in number 4. It is one of the best mod ever created. It is so fun playing in survival. But for mob battle, Ferrous Roughnut, it's fun to see him bash his enemy. There's not a lot of stuff that can beat him, so it's pretty much just a waiting game for him to kill his stuff. So it's fun to see him, but it's not that exciting to make a fight with Ferrous Roughnut. Barako has some issues with the Barakoaya and the teaming system, so you won't get the healing effect, and sometimes they can bug behind walls on top of something, so they can make the fight really long and boring. So my favorite for mob battle is Frostmaw. Even though it's like the least popular one on the mod, it's immune to arrow, it can move, it can freeze stuff, it has 3 different slam attack. It's a really fun boss. He's not the strongest, but it's fun to see him go against something. In number 3, we have 2 mods. I count them as one on my list because they are basically interconnected. They are one and the same. It's the Mutant Beast and Mutant More. They are basically the same mod. Mutant Beast and Mutant More adds a bunch of mutant of normal classical mobs. They have unique animation, unique attack. They are really dynamic. They can move around, jump, explode. They do a really good job in team. It's like they were made to be in team. They like bounce their opponent around. It's really fun to see them. They are a great baseline for mob battle. I judge the strength of a mob based on how he does against the mutants. And now at number 2, we have the Illage and Spillage mod. This for me is the one that has the most potential out of the bunch, because there's a lot of bosses that are planned for the future, but even without what's for the future, it's in second place. In 1.16, we only have the Magispeller and the Spirit Caller, but in 1.19, we also have the Freakager, the Absorber, there's the Twittleager, the Crocofang, but the most important one are the 3 bosses that we have now. The Freakager, the Spirit Caller, and the Magispeller. They are some of the most dynamic bosses that I've seen on modded Minecraft. They jump around, they bounce around, they attack with like 7 or 8 different attacks. They have phases depending on our HP. Some of them have regens, so the fight can go a bit longer and you have the time to see their moves. They are not too strong so they one-shot everything, but they are not too weak so they can resist to the most OP bosses that there is. So they can make a really entertaining fight with almost anything. Probably in the next update or the other update after that will probably take my number 1 spot, but for now you probably guessed what's in the number 1. But before going to the number 1, let's look at some honorable mention. One of them that didn't make the list is the Food Boss mod. This one may look a bit janky, a bit of a joke, but the boss are really well made. They are some serious bosses, they can make good fight. The problem is they have too much minion spam. They tend to stay away from the enemy, and sometimes the fight can go on forever. But coming up in the future, they might make the top 10 because there is some stuff planned, like the Toy Village or the Gingerbread King, so I really want to see what's coming next for this mod. Another one that didn't make the list is the Ice and Fire mod. Even though it's a really good mod, it's stuck in 1.16, 1.18 soon, but still, the mobs added in this mod is a bit buggy. and not really entertaining for mob battle. The dragons are really fun to watch, but the problem is as soon as they reach stage 5, they are either way overpowered or you can't have more than one at a time or the game will be a bit choppy. The Myrmidon's Queen will always spawn a hive, so you can't really make the fight outside of the hive. The Gorgon will always one-shot anything, unless you gave it a blindfold. The Sea Serpent is good in water, but not outside of water, so my favorites are the Cyclops, that can just bite and punch, and the other one is the Dread Lich. The Dread Lich is interesting, it spawns stuff, it attacks at a distance, and tries to stay away from the mobs by spawning other dread monsters. Meteor Fight almost made the list, since it only adds 3 boss, and they are practically the same, even though they are well made. It doesn't add enough to be in the top 10 of my favorite mob battle mod. Another one is Aquamirei. Aquamirei adds the Ghost of Captain Cornelia, which is really fun, but that's the only big boss of the mod. This and the eel that heals way too much for no reason. So the other ones are a bit more smaller mobs or aquatic mobs, so they doesn't add a lot to be in the top 10. Same for the Cracker Witherstorm mod. There's 2 good mobs. The Withered Symbiont, that is like in Faber's Froth mod, but without the condition of landing a big attack, you can hit it in the back anytime. And the Witherstorm, which one-shot pretty much anything, except if it has a damage cap and it does like way too much damage. And finally, in the honorable mention, we have the Golemania. Golemania adds a bunch of new golem that redesign the basic golem from Minecraft. Instead of the extra golem that only adds like an iron golem but with a different texture and attack damage, these golems have new animation, new abilities like the TNT golem that can shoot TNTs and stun itself with the TNT, the netherite golem which set on fire, gives big hammer smash and has a shield to protect itself, or the obsidian golem that is like a rethinking of the redstone golem but on a wheel and shoots explosives. So it's really fun mod. Sadly it is stuck in 1.16 for now until the mod gets ported to 1.19. And finally at number 1 we have the Ellender's Cataclysm mod. This mod only contains 3 bosses and 2 mini boss, but each one of them is fully complete, and there's a 4th boss that is in production at the time of the recording of this video. The Netherite Monstrosity is the least complicated one of the 3 bosses, but he offers some great challenge for most of the bosses of modded Minecraft. The Ender Guardian is a bit more elaborate with many moves. He has a great variety of attack against most of his foes, and he's really fun to use against mostly everything. Just don't forget to turn off his block breaking in the config, or he will break a lot of stuff in your arena. But finally, for me, the best mob in mob battle, and this is why it's number 1, is Ignis. You probably know it. I really love Ignis. He's one of my favorite mob. He's fun in survival, but he's really fun in mob battle. Even though he's really strong and he wins most of his fight, he will put up a show. He will stand his ground against OP mob and will make the fight really interesting because of the percentage damage that he has against a really high HP boss. Even though he only do 20 or 40 damage against a low HP boss, like 100 HP or 200, he will do even more against high HP boss, which makes fights last not like it's forever. It ends pretty quickly, most of the time by Ignis winning. On my other channel I have 2 videos, one where it's 2.5 hours of Ignis just beating bosses, and another one which is 40 something minutes where he gets wrecked by more OP bosses than him, and it's really fun to watch. Either way, either he loses or he wins, both of them are fun. Even though he's strong, it's really fun to watch. But as I said, there's a good chance that Illage and Spillage, with the frequency of its update and the great idea that Yellow Bros has, will probably take my number 1 spot depending on the Harbinger. So everyone, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more battle content or more challenge, and YouTube will suggest you one of the video that you might like on the screen right now. So click on that and go watch it. And as always, you're awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.